Today, I will share some of the facts, but the reality is hardly known to anyone. Therefore, after going through great deal of data and observation, I thought that I should share some facts with you. I will start with a simple instance that against the projected growth of 7.5%, the growth rate is uneven and last quarter growth is 8.2% because the nominal growth rate is 8.7%. The deflator, which is used for calculating the nominal growth rate, has reduced drastically, and therefore the real growth rate is 8.2%. Otherwise, the nominal growth rate is 8.7%. The nominal growth rate is low because the wholesale inflation is low, and when the wholesale inflation is low, the companies become less profitable, and due to which the stock market is bleeding. That is, the return from the stock market is hardly 8%, and therefore the foreign investors have taken their money out, not a small amount, but a very big amount, 1,40,000 crores, and they have gone to deploy that money in the other attractive emerging markets. The situation is not pinkish there in the United States. Now, with this also, the export to United States, which is always taken as granted, has fallen considerably down. I will not go with the figures, but you will see the result of that the export has fallen significantly, and the government in fact also told the officials that search the new markets, and still there is a shortfall of 12%, due to which the dollar inflow has reduced. Though there is a silver lining in it, that we were buying the oil from Russia and it was much cheaper, but still, in terms of dollars, the export volume is less. Import from Russia, in fact, has mitigated some problem of rising current account deficit or trade deficit. Now, the rupee has depreciated because outflow is more than inflow, and this has been happening for the last several years, particularly after 2014, because the new investment is hardly taking place. And fact is, you can also understand that if the private investment is slow, then the government will have to do an autonomous investment. This is the reason that the government is keeping up the momentum of public expenditure, public capital expenditure, and last budget it was 12.5 lakh crores, starting from 7.5 lakhs crores in the pandemic year. It means the economy was going through slowdown. Therefore, it is the duty of the government to see that the growth rate does not fall much below a particular level, Still, after doing all these things, the growth rate admitted by the government is not exceeding 7.5%. This quarter growth of 8.2% is not going to be stay with us for a long time. Ultimately, it has been projected slightly higher at 7.7%. It is a statistical calculation. But I will also take this point along with it that the growth rate which is being shown is is also prepared statistically. It is not factual. Everyone knows that the demonetization has killed the informal industries. GST has also killed the informal industries. This is the reason that we are seeing that the corporate sector is contributing roughly 70% of the GDP. When, if still we do not believe these things, in the pandemic, that reverse migration has started because the workers from urban areas had gone back to the rural areas and there was a pressure on Manrega, that is the rural work, rural wages, and the government has to increase the Manrega. That was a real distress situation, and since the fiscal profligacy was there, so government was not shying to raise the money from the market and therefore kept increasing the outlay on Manrega. The workers which have gone back to rural areas, we are seeing that there is a pressure on the rural farm work, rural areas, because they had gone back. They have not returned because the industries have vanished. That is, the informal industries have vanished. And in order to band-aid it, the government has quickly brought the labor laws, that is the four laws, which will take care of the wages as well as the security of the people. So when unorganized sector is not in existence because they cannot compete with the organized sector in any product, it means the organized sector has been completely eliminated. Only the corporate sector has been left to work. So this organized sector before 2014 was contributing 40% towards the GDP and roughly employing 11 crore people. Now, most of the unskilled workers are not needed in urban areas. Corporate sectors being the capital intensive, they do not wish to hire more workers and they manage with the few skilled workers. Automation, in fact, is very acute and therefore the labor is not needed there. So, this is being reflected in the unemployment rate of 45 years high, and which the government has simply denied it. Even it is a CMI report that with the age groups they give the unemployment rate among the youth, the unemployment is higher. You will see that there was 9 lakhs of jobs and applications were 250 lakhs, 2 crore 50 lakhs, 2 crore 50 lakhs for 90,000 jobs in railways. And the government size, in fact, is getting reduced. The states are left with some scope for employment, that is in the schools, hospitals, and others. So, as such, we will see that unemployment rate, and with the increasing population, roughly 1 crore people enter in the labor force, and they in fact becomes the numerator, and in the denominator there is the population which enters in the labor force. So unemployment rate is very high, and now when we say the growth rate is very robust, it is a fastest growing economy agreed, because all the developed economies have saturated. Even South Korea cannot also increase at this instance. They have taken the dividend in their first few years of liberalization, and now they have become capital intensive. Labor is very little. Even in Russia, you will see that the fertility rate is just near zero, and they are demanding 3 lakhs workers from other countries. But the countries which were supplying the labor force was the Central Asia, and now in the agreement signed yesterday, there could be some migration of Indian workers in Russia. It could be 70,000 also. The people have gone to work in Israel and Ukraine also. This is the state of affairs of unemployment in India reflected here, that everyone would like to seek job within the country rather to go somewhere else where the situations are uncertain. What can happen to them in Saudi Arabia, or in under what circumstances they are managing their lives, they know better. So still, if the government says that the unemployment is under control, I think it is immoral to say, because after all, the sufferings are faced by the people. The government will not come down to face the sufferings of the people, so therefore the facts are required. Now the government says that the two structural reforms are needed: land acquisition and the labor reforms. And labor reforms will be considered as done after 5 or 6 years of their implementation. These are implemented from 21st of December, and we will see that how the industries scale up their operations. If the skilled workers are not available, and they will ask for competitive wages, inflation indexed wages, then the problem will start here, because the industries will want the round the clock production. Given the situation that the export has fallen down considerably and we are searching the new market, still the shortfall is there. Even with the internationalization of the rupee, that is the rupee ruble exchange and rupee China exchange, the export is not picking up. But it is certain that the trade deficit with China is the highest. It is $100 billion. It means the manufacturing is not increasing. Therefore, the import is being done from China. This is also being hidden. This truth was very stark, which should have been kept before the public, so that the people could have understood that what our children should do, whether they should go for vocationalization, or they should go for higher education, or they should go for substandard higher education, or they do any course, because they can not sit idle at home. They will have to be sent in some private universities where everyone knows the standard of education and what is the entry and what is the output. So whatever the input will be there, if the low merit is there, it cannot be high merit in the 3 years course in the private university. So it means the vocationalization is delayed. The children are not ready to do the vocationalization. And since vocationalization is poor, the manufacturing growth is poor. The manufacturing growth is very weak in India, due to which the growth rate is just creeping by 0.1%, 0.2%, that's all. It cannot jump like 1% or 1.5% in a big economy whose base is just $4 trillion. So transformation is very slow. Land acquisition is not possible because in 2016, the MS Swaminathan report says that the growth rate, that is the farmer's income, should be doubled by 2022. There was an unrest among the farmers. They are from Haryana, Punjab, and Uttar Pradesh, and they were kept silent by giving the Nidhi at Kisan Samman Nidhi of 2,000 per quarter every 4 months. So 6,000 rupees are being given to them. Whether it will act as a relief when the income farmers has not been doubled. The government wanted to double the income by bringing the three labor laws and giving the agriculture in the hands of the private sector, but the farmers did not agree. 750 farmers have lost their lives sitting in the cold and heat, and 5 farmers were mowed down there in Lakhimpur. This is the situation which has appeared before everybody. I, I will not understate anything, but I will bring up the facts to be verified by each individual. Now, when we say that the corporate sector, in fact, because when the capital accumulation is high, asset formation is possible since 1980, definitely the capital intensity will improve. But the question is that if the capital intensity is improved in South Korea, definitely the labor was fully occupied. Here, the labor is struggling for two ends meal. They have gone to Manrega, and in Manrega, they are given average man days for 45 days a year, whereas it was expected to be doubled from 100 to 200, and still, because the allocation is poor. So, as such, you will see that there is hardly any educational improvement, barring in the few states that. And why do they not vote for the BJP? You will see the reason also. I will say some time again what is the reason. But they are taking the taxes from these four southern states, and this share is not transferred to them because they are significantly less populated, and the finance commission, in devolving the funds, it takes into account the population in that particular state, because higher population requires higher spending, and since the lower population requires lower spending, So they are not given allocation as per the population of Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, they get less. But if they are given less, it is beneficial to them, except the lower allocation will starve them of further development. Their further development will be hampered, because if at all the wages could be increased, it could be increased with the help of higher devolution. At present, they are having shortfall in in the welfare spending, which has slightly been reduced there ever since the GST has been implemented. The GST, earlier they had the advantage that local taxes they could collect according to their conditions, according to the environment. But since GST has been implemented, their hands are bound now, and they cannot increase the welfare spending. Therefore, what I have seen is that the Tamil Nadu debt has slightly been increased. But where the debt has increased in other states, because the debt is as much as what we have, the GDP is slightly less. It is 89%. It means all the states are under debt, and without welfare activities or without capital expenditure, because their total factor productivity has not increased. It means the funds are transferred in the form of subsidies to the states ruled by the BJP government, and they are getting an individual benefit, not the collective benefit. The public benefit is the when there will be a spending on welfare, education, and say the infrastructure required. So if it is not happening by the states, so that will definitely make the human development index weak, and we see that the rank of India in human development index is 136. Similarly, the inequality has been increasing. You can see that since the liberalization, the wealth of the billionaire 1% people has increased 11 times. It means the economy is very capital intensive, that there is a concentration of wealth. Those who are the automobile manufacturer will have to have the wealth, because the demand of the nation is that they should build automobile like Mahindra and Tata and all that. Similarly, Adani, as he is taking the green energy project, so he will also have to accumulate the wealth, then only he can do investment. All airports are built by Adani, so definitely he will have to accumulate the wealth. So who is becoming rich? How many workers are engaged when the airports are this thing being constructed? All are mechanized. The need of the workers, like the earlier when the roads were built, the workers were needed, labor was needed, but now minimum amount of labor is needed in constructing the infrastructure. So this has also resulted in multi-dimensional poverty, and India ranks 105, lower than Sudan. Taken together, the hunger index also, it is also very poor. So it comes under North Korea, it comes under Sudan. So this is the state of affairs. And when we say that there is no need of looking the job, you become the job provider, means you should have startup. The startup, you can see, have have started taking the delivery boys. They, because of the digitization, the need of workers has been minimized. Only the delivery boys are there. They are earning from 8,000 to 12,000 rupees, and definitely they are below the poverty level. And besides, when unemployment is very high, the inequality is also there. This inequality is crowding the cities which are highly productive, or they are giving better GDP, like Delhi, like Maharashtra or Bombay, or like Gurgaon, or like Indore, because their total factor productivity has reached at the maximum level, because the only those industries are operating where there are skilled manpower, like pharmaceutical, garments, gems and jewelry, engineering goods. All these exported products require the employment of skilled workers, and these industries are concentrated in Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, and small portion somewhere else. So these cities are overcrowded. Even the minister in Haryana, who was born there in Gurgaon, who studied in Haryana, and he is the minister from Haryana. When AQI was given 500, the last last days, he says the actual AQI is crossing 1900, because he has gone to Bihar and he can see the blue sky with the moon and stars are scintillating. Here in Gurgaon, he says that the life in Gurgaon will reduce by 10 years. So, where there is a crowding, there is a pollution, the water is not clean, food is not clean, the longevity is not there, it is reduced. So, every negative effect is there when the few cities are asked to perform more and more. In Tamil Nadu, we can see the flooding, because the Tamil Nadu has occupied the maximum residential area, because most of the industries have gone there. The because the ease of doing business there is very good, and the skilled manpower is being created out of the good education system prevailing in Tamil Nadu. There are other factors also. Similarly, in Kerala, there is no hue and cry. There in Karnataka also, there is no hue and cry, barring the infrastructure which crumbles during the rainy season. Also, Andhra Pradesh is better, Telangana is also better. So, where the social welfare schemes were done in orderly manner, not in terms of lavishing the subsidy, like giving midday meal, giving uniform, and helping the women with some work, that is the nearby industries. So it means the labor force, women labor force participation rate, whereat it has increased, the wages are significant, the poverty has reduced, and they have laddered up, and therefore the growth is there. The growth, in fact, has been stated to improve. They are in the two Bimaru states like Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, but few small industries must have been set up. Otherwise, the agrarian crisis is still there. You can see this time the economy is disinflationary, that is, the inflation is coming down because core inflation has not come down from 4%, it is the food inflation. So, therefore, the government has been suggested that let food inflation go out of that CPI basket, consumer price index basket, because it is creating noise in this inflation figures. So by 2026, when the new series for the CPI will come, I think that will be taken out and only the core inflation will be there. It is a good thing that then we will able to see that how the wages are improving and how the production is improving. Core inflation means this thing. This is what I want to tell you. So so things are not hunky dory, but these are made so the debt in the states is increasing because they are lavishly financing the doles in Uttar Pradesh, in Bihar. They have just done 10,000 cash has been given, and obviously the debt will rise. The discrimination, because cooperative federalism is working to some extent, but not in all areas. Because when it will come to the delimitation, the number of MPs in Uttar Pradesh will increase somewhat by 36, but in Tamil Nadu these will decrease. It means that the voice of the parliamentarian from Tamil Nadu will decrease despite of their progress. But in Uttar Pradesh, it might be working better for the last 5 years, but the number of MPs will increase from there. But whether they would able to bring better governance, that would be seen in the time to come. For the time being, the economy is porous, it is not solid inside, there are problems. But one thing I will touch upon, that the infrastructure, the shining roads and airports which you are seeing, these are deliberately built by selling the public sector, Gale pipeline, and some monetization of the railway stations, and the higher cess and taxes is charged by the government since it has come into power, because it was the motive of the government that the central government will show off that how the top leaders are working. You can understand who could be the top leader, and in order to prop up his name, definitely we should build better infrastructure so that from outer side the people can view that India is progressing, even if you are languishing in slum, and even if your children are not going to school. This is a different episode. I will take another one time to say something on that also. So when the growth rate is projected at 7.6%, you will be surprised. It is statistically manipulated. That is, the organized sector is contributing, which is taken by the national accounts. Unorganized sector, this has been decimated, but still its extrapolation is taken since 2015. There is no data on the unorganized sector. There is no census, and it is delayed by 6 to 7 years because it will reveal the fertility rate. Fertility rate has actually been fallen. Earlier it was 2.1%, now it has come down to 1.9%. Fertility is not a problem. The labor will continue to reduce from 2040 onwards, and this fertility down is due to the women role in education, which was impressed upon by the earlier government, that the women should go, their enrollment should increase in schools, and now they are competent enough to take up some economic activity, but still the labor force participation rate is at 24%. The Manrega is a different thing, that they go for work, so that can, we also can count the women labor force participation rate. Otherwise, in the corporate sector, you will see that the women participation rate is very low because a lot of traveling and other things are required. This is a different story. Whether the mortality rate as earlier, because of the advancement in medical facility, is decreasing or not, that will be seen in another 10 years, because when there will be a shortage of food, nutrition and everything, or the people will not able to afford for the medical expenses which are rising. So we, this will be examined later, but for the time being, the birth rate will start declining, the number of workers will decrease, the dependency ratio will increase by 2050, and then it will be difficult for affording for this thing. But in case the government wants to progress factually, then the land acquisition should be there, the farmers remuneration should increase, so that one piece of land they can sell away, and with other they can manage, but their one son or daughter should be there in the job. So this is how the manufacturing would help, that God wish that the labor laws prove good to the people in the rural areas, so that the poverty in the rural areas does not remain so long acute, and the migration is also stopped. This is how I feel the government should be working. But for the time being, they should give rest to the signboards and big photos, because it will become wastage for the Indian economy. Let the poor grow, let the poor be given midday meal. This is, I have thought that I should share these things, because I am a micro level economist. I continue to see the fate of the people, and what rosy picture has been given by the people at the helm. So that was disturbing me. I thought I should share with you some important facts. Thank you.